G'day everyone. We're currently in the midst of the Warrnambool Maid Carnival. It's day 2 today, and I'm taking out the opportunity to talk to a trainer today who's up there, who's actually got 2 runners today. And joining me is trainer Saab Hassan. G'day Saab, how are you, mate?
G'day Ben, listeners, how are we?
Yeah, very well, thank you. First of all, I was a bit inspired to do this because I saw the amazing feature story that Sam Doran from Racing.com. A pretty good story about you, wasn't it? What he did?
Yeah, thanks Ben. He did the story justice. Him and Tristan Fernando put it together. It was a bit of a personal story. We weren't going to do it, but we had a good chat with Sam, and the way he approaches things with Racing.com, and the way he wanted to portray the story was to my liking. So we just felt that it'll give people a different perspective of racing, and probably kids a bit of an inspiration to strive for what they want, Ben. And alternatively, if it meant it gives the kids an opportunity to stay on a straight and narrow, so to speak, rather than get on the drug. I just felt it was a good thing to just give back to racing.
You said it was a personal story. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got to Australia? Because it's a bit of a sad, war-torn kind of story, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, Ben, basically, I was born in 71, and the war broke out a few years after that, so I was only a young lad, and I do remember most of the trauma and the stuff that we went through. As young kids, and then watching your parents, taken away, and your father in the army and fighting the war, and it was a very uneasy time, and it was a very uneasy feeling, and just didn't know whether you're going to be ripped away from your parents or your loved ones or your sister, we battled through there, and then being sort of taken away from granddad and migrating to Australia was pretty difficult. And then I never got to see him again. He passed away, but he inspired me to go out there and chase my dream, and I suppose it was something that I had to relive by telling the story in depth, and by giving the listeners, and the viewers a chance to see who we are and what we do and in racing. And for that reason, it was a bit personal. But look, everyone's experienced hard times in their life, Ben, I'm certain. And we came to Australia and came to a better place, better country.
And I believe it was Mick Surkey that gave you your first go, because you knocked on every other stable at Flemington and they wouldn't give you a go, but Mick did.
Correct. I knew as a child what I wanted to be and who I was, and what made me tick. So with that in mind, I approached every major stable and couldn't get a Guernsey, so to speak. And I started working at Mick's, and he came in and asked me who I was, and I explained to him I was his new worker, and he said, well, I never employed you. So he gave me a chance just to stay there and never shooed me away. And he gave me that opportunity to basically stay there, Ben, and work and learn. And he's a great horseman and still is. And he taught me a lot. And then all the Surkeys I had a lot to do with. Jim Surkey, he was great to me. And Bobby, the late Bobby, who passed away, and Billy. Yeah, I learned a lot off all of them. And old Jim Surkey was there then with Dandy Andy. So we had a fair bit to do with him. And they were the Var Road Dandy Andy Bone Crusher years. So I went to the races in 1988, I think it was. That was the Australian Bicentennial Cup, and we knocked off Bo Rogue, and Dandy, just showed me that if you work hard and chase your dream, it can happen. So a lot of the circuits played an important role, and I wasn't a person that went out a lot or drank or smoked, and all the circuit used to have parties on the weekends. They used to invite me out. We go out to all their dues, and they were like another family to me. They were fantastic. I can't thank them all enough.
You've got your Flemington stable at Chiquita Lodge, but I believe you've recently expanded it also out to Crown Valley Lodge out in the wine country. Is that right?
Correct, Ben. We hold about 15 at Flemington. That's us.
Yep.
We don't want to get any bigger just yet at Flemington. We're probably having a lot of inquiries, and we've got a lot of clients that want us to go to the next level. We will probably grow eventually to 25. But what I felt I wanted was a country lifestyle for myself, my family, and my little 17-month-old daughter, Amelia, and my partner, Zoe. So we ventured off and done a joint venture with Alicia and Dennis Stogren, who their horse just ran fourth. And we purchased the property in a joint ventureship with them, and it's going great. Horses are thriving up there, and it's showing. The results are just starting to show now. And we've got a lot of babies we haven't produced yet. Look out in the next 12 to 2 years.
And that country lifestyle, it's very good for the horses, isn't it? It's more relaxed. It's not like the hustle and bustle of Flemington.
Yeah, look, it's great. If a horse is just having a bit of a hard time at Flemington, I'll zoom him up on the weekend. I can take him back to Flemington and give him a bit more education, et cetera. And look, it's fantastic. It's the way to go for mine. It's the future of racing.
And you've got a bit of a partnership going with Darren Dance at the moment. Interesting story. When you first met him at the races, you asked him for your opinion on, I think it was one of your first horses you were training, and you were strapping it yourself.
Yeah, used to run the Darren Dance, and a good mate of mine, Damien Roof, said, "I wanted to ask you for a horse one day," because he was a big syndicator. And I said, them syndicators, people, they don't want to give me horses. I'm just a nobody. He goes, "Well, you never ask, you never know." So one day I said to Darren Dance, I said, Dance at Saab Hassan, I said, "How's my horse looking?" He said, "I'll tell you next lap." So next lap come around, he said, "It's the best looking horse in the race." I've gone, "Really? You mean that?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You should just win." Well, it won. And this went on for a few years, and I'd run into him and I'd say, "Darren, who looks the best in the yard?" He goes, "Oh, yours does." And, we're always well known for choosing our horses, gleaming at the races, and I wouldn't take them if they never looked well. And that was one thing that I was taught. We always had maybe not the fittest horse at the race, but definitely one of the best presented. And with that in mind, Darren knew that we could do the job. And when the opportunity presented, he had a plan with Serious Suspect, and he rang me up and he said, "Look, I've got a horse for you. I think you can replace Shoreham, and no pressure, do what you can." And Peter Allison, he joined my stable then too. He's our racing manager now, and he gave me the rundown, and he said, "Look, the horse could be a real good Flemington horse," and put some ideas in my head, and trained the horse and got to know him, and felt that the horse wasn't the best traveller in the world, so we kept him at the Flemington racing when we mapped out a program. And he's won us 4 or 5 races now, and we couldn't be prouder of him, Ben. And there's more to come.
You mentioned Shoreham. I remember a couple of big days when you won some very nice races, including, I think you won a good one at Caulfield one day. What an amazing ride you had with that horse.
Yeah, look, he ran third in the St. Leger, SA Derby, I should say. He ran third in that. He ran second in the Moonee Valley Cup, ran third in the Sandown Cup. He won the Sofitel listed race. He won the Galilee Series listed. He ran fifth in the Easter Cup. He ran, I think, sixth in the Group 1 Turnbull. He won as an 8-year-old riser at 9, he won the Group 3 Easter Cup for us. So he's been a very important horse in my life, Ben, and he probably just showed people that, hey, look, this bloke can train, and he kept us in the game, so to speak.
And I've always known you as a person, Saab, who isn't afraid to have a bit of an opinion about the industry. What do you feel racing needs to do to attract a younger audience? I remember we were talking a little bit about this when we had a quick chat at the Melbourne Premier Sale recently.
Yeah, look, racing, we can always improve in every aspect, Ben. And one area that we need to improve is probably better pay for our strappers. They don't get the best pay. Secondly, I think we need an academy where we can train people up, because a lot of people say become a strapper and that's it. That's it for them. They can't go any further. That's a bit of a dead end job for them. Racing needs to probably just start reinventing itself a little bit and starting to build some form of an academy where people and young kids can go and be trained. Some will be jockeys. Not everyone will be jockeys. I've got nothing against jockeys, but they get treated like royalty, and everyone else gets treated like shit. We have a 3% welfare system that all owners and trainers pay into for all their prize money. 3% goes towards the jockeys and the animal welfare, which I'm not against. However, there's nothing that goes into the strappers or track riders. There's a lot of track riders out there that they just pick up shit every morning, and they work split shifts, and it's very tough for them. So I think if we build an academy, we train these kids better, we give them an opportunity to grow and develop, and give them a vision of all aspects of racing, whether they venture into the integrity side of it, whether they venture into the breeding side of it, the riding side of it. It's not just about being a jock. And secondly, if we don't look after owners, Ben, we're at shit. We're gone. Owners are out. Horses first, owners second. Owners must be looked after. Other than the horse itself, the owners are the ones that are paying for the whole industry. They're the ones that are paying for the upkeep of that horse, which henceforth keeps racing going. We can argue all day long that, what started, the chicken or the egg first. We need stewards, yes. We need track riders, yes. We need jockeys. Without jockeys, we can't have races. Yeah, we get that. I get that. But without the animal being paid for, I haven't got a job. Administrators haven't got a job. So we've got to look after them owners. And if you look at something like $300 million is spent on horses a year on training them, and they're up, and only $200 million or $220 million is being paid out, there's a massive shortfall. Who pays for that shortfall? Owners. Yep. They're the ones that are going to lose. So pretty much, to put it in perspective for you, Ben, one out of 3 owners are going to do their money. If you spend $100,000, one owner's going to lose. So that's a bit of a gamble. It's a 33% a chance that an owner's going to lose, and it's not a good way to be,
But you talk about having like that training college. There's one in the UK, for example, and there's certainly plenty of land in old racetracks here that if there's a funding available, and there certainly is, to be able to build one of those training colleges. Like a tape, what they have in New South Wales,
we need a training
work. It can definitely be done, can't it? Yep.
No, you're on the ball, mate. Definitely we need a training complex built. What they did at Pakenham's great, but we need one from this side of town. And have a look at all these trainers. They're getting thrown out of Caulfield, Sandown, maybe shut one day. Might be sold off. So racing's at a very, very tough stage at the moment. Racing Victoria needs to reinvent itself. We need to work as a team. It's our industry. It's everyone's industry, including yours, Ben, and every listener out there. We all play a small part in the molecular structure of this game that's called the Sport of Kings.
Yeah.
I think that, now's the time, especially with COVID, when, to look after our own backyard, not worry about what they do overseas. And one other thing that we should improve is the rating system. It's crap. It's absolutely horrible. Just doesn't work. There's a lot of bottleneck of horses that can't get past the 58, 64 stage. Bring back the old class, maiden, class 1, class 2, all the way up to class 6 and open. So give horses a chance of progress and go through their grades plan. Race against horses that have only won 1 or 2 races. After all, you wouldn't race a 15-year-old kid with a 30-year-old man or a 7-year-old kid in a 15-year-old division, because it's going to be harder for them. And that's what happens with his classing system. It's very, very hard.
And just away from racing, what does Saab Hassan like to do in his spare time?
Oh, fishing. Love fishing. Absolutely adore fishing. It's about the only thing that makes me relax. I get seasick, so I got to fish on the bank. I love fishing, and I love to play a little bit of golf. I'm not real good at it. I kicked the ball a couple of times, but that's my handicap. And I played with the boys, Gino and Damien and Paul and all my mates from the past. But fishing's one thing I love.
And you mentioned fishing. There's a bit of a racing connection there. You've got the jockey Bobby Alissa. He always puts up plenty of videos on social media with Ride That Fish. Have you seen them?
Yeah. Oh, look, every time I see fishing, I smile. And I don't take every fish home. I only take what I want to eat. Most of my release, but I just love the sport. It's just fantastic.
All right, Saab, thanks very much for joining me today and giving me a bit of an insight into what you think about racing and a few other things. And good luck for your next runner in the next at Warrnambool.
Yeah, it will need a run, but thanks for having me. Bye.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.